Okay, hello everyone. I thought I'd do a quick video just to go through the awarding XP system for Shadowdark, only because for myself and I know a lot of people online, there's been a bit of confusion as to how to actually handle distributing XP via treasure. So I thought I would just go through the rules as written and explain how my interpretation of it is and how I do it in play. So I've loaded up a dungeon that I've made in Foundry and I'll use it as an example. But first let us take a look at the rules as written. So on page 117 of the core book, we have awarding XP. And I'm just going to read the first two paragraphs. So the first one is characters gain XP from the valuable treasures and boons they earn during an adventure. XP awards don't need to reflect monetary value. Boons or fabled items have intangible worth. Now, the rest of the page talks about the categories of treasure and what their worth is in XP, as well as sources of XP, how much gold to give out to your players depending on their level, and examples of XP depending on the quality of the treasure. Now, the tables here are useful. However, unless you know how to use them and implement them, it's going to be a bit confusing. And I think the thing that people get confused on first and foremost is the fact that players get XP when they discover the treasure. It's not when that treasure is sold, at least at this stage. Carousing is a thing, but we're going to talk about that afterwards. At this stage, when a player discovers the treasure, they then get awarded the XP, depending on the quality. Now, for an example, over here in this room, I have my player, Chomp, and he's just discovered this chest. And in this chest are a bunch of items and some gold and copper pieces. Now, if we were to compare this to the tables found in the core book, we could say that this treasure is normal, meaning it's worth 1 XP. So that 1 XP is awarded to the player as soon as they've opened this chest and discovered the treasure. They don't even need to take it. They've discovered this treasure and therefore they awarded 1 XP point. Now, you as a game master can obviously alter this if you don't like, depending on how you want to run your game. Some GMs might decide that they need to actually take the items first to then get the XP. Some might also be a bit more crueler and channel their deep OSR roots and decide that actually, once they've taken this gold and this treasure, they need to leave the dungeon as well and get somewhere safe for them to get awarded that XP. Any of those options work. Obviously, it's not it's all preference. I prefer just to give the XP straight away when they discover the loot, just because it's less for me to track, and it's nice to know that the players are making some progress as they are delving through the dungeons. So for Chomp here, if you found this chest, took these items, I would say, hey, you've got 1 XP point. Awesome. Okay, now let's say we have something a bit more valuable. So over here in this chest, I have placed a magic item, the Emerald Blade. And if we're going back to the tables again, this would be a fabulous piece of treasure, meaning it is worth 3 XP. Because under the examples at the bottom of the page, it says quality fabulous, XP free, and the examples given are magic swords, giant diamonds, and mithril chainmail. So how I usually decide is that any sort of magic item is generally just going to be 3 XP for me. Now, you as the game master can actually decide the experience value attached to this item. The book just sort of gives you like a basis, which is the 3 XP, but you can decide it's only worth 1 XP or 2 XP. Or you could say it's an extremely legendary magic item, and therefore it's worth 5 or even 10 XP points. It's totally up to you as the game master. And the same goes for the more mundane treasure piles. Going back to this example, if I decided that I didn't want to award XP for this chest, the contents can be exactly the same, but I can decide as the DM just to say, you've got all this stuff, but you don't get any XP for it. It's a relatively mundane pile. So you can take all this stuff, but no XP is awarded. Why would you do that? Well, it all depends on how quickly or slowly you want your characters to progress. As you know, the XP works in tens, so every 10 XP they level up. So you might want to slow it down in places, you might want to speed it up in places. It all depends on your preference, and you have complete control over it. I could say, do you know what? These guys have been leveling up quite slowly. I'm going to say they get 2 XP for this pile, just to get them a bit closer to reaching their next level. Now, I mentioned carousing earlier, and this is the next way that players can earn XP, and that is by spending the gold which they find on their many travels. So on the carousing page in the core book, how it works is the player will submit an amount of gold, roll a dice, and then depending on how much gold they have put into that roll, will depend on how much XP they get out of it on the end. You could, again, as a GM, decide that this is the only way players earn XP. And you can obviously make that a rule by increasing the amount of gold they find and share out. Because you've decided they're not going to get XP for finding this treasure, but they are going to get it for spending it on the carousing. It's totally up to you. And with that, again, the challenge comes with the carousing is how quickly or how slowly do your player characters level up, because it's harder to monitor how much XP they're going to get on carousing because they're rolling on a table. They could get no XP, they could get 5 XP. It all depends on how much money they decide to put in. So I would recommend, at least this is what I do personally, is award XP when they find treasure, because you have total control over that and you can limit how much they get throughout their journeys. And then also limit how much gold they receive depending on their level. And this way you know that they have to really work to collect as much gold as they can before deciding to spend it all. The book though, the Warden XP page, does say how much gold to give depending on the player level on average. So it does say per treasure find, each group should gain about 10 gold pieces times the average party level in value. Or, and it gives you a few options, or 20 gold pieces in value if they're between level 0 and 3, 50 in value if they're between level 4 and 6, and so on. So again, it's giving you the option. And it's these options that I think people get muddled with. So I hope this video has made it a little bit clearer and made it a bit more understandable, especially for new game masters running Shadowdark. But the sort of summary is you control how much XP to give your players when they find the treasure, and then you have to then also consider how much gold you're given to depend on how much carousing are going to do with it. So I say for lower levels, don't give them so much gold in the actual treasure loot they find. Let them build it up. Let them decide collectively to hoard their gold to then go and see how well they do when they carouse later on down the line. Thank you for your patience. I hope this has been helpful. If so, please leave a like. And if you have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment.